celebrates the birth of a bard, a philosopher, a visionary, the eternal flame of Indian literature, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. On this sacred day, we not merely remember a man, we invoke the spirit of a voice that spoke the soul of a nation. He was sign of freedom before it had a name, who painted dawns with words and made music breathe, who said, "Let my country awake," and the world listened.
I fall surrender to his music, Rabindra Jayanti, that stirs the silence. Let us revisit his plays, his poems, his fiery essays, reflections of a soul forever seeking, forever giving. And let this celebration be not a ritual, but a revival of values, of beauty, of courage, and of compassion. He once beautifully said, "The flower that blooms in the face of adversity is the rarest and the most beautiful of all." We now shall pay our respects to the simple offering. May I kindly invite our esteemed guests and faculty members to offer our floral tribute to Gurudev.
Church dwells, it silence my heart, like the full moon in the summer night. And bright eyes shall watch over me in my wanderings. The shadow, veil shall rest upon my heart. I will feel the fragrance. This song, hero, sitting on.
May I now request our HOD Ma'am, Dr. Dhanasri Sarkar, to offer Kadash to our beloved guests.
Thank you, ma'am. Tagore once said, the highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence.
Request our HOD Ma'am to offer Kadash to our guests.
Thank you, ma'am. gathered today not just to remember Gurudev, but to celebrate the wisdom he imparted through his words and actions. To celebrate the wisdom, to officially set this journey in motion, I now invite the head of the Department of English, Dr. Tanushree Sarkar, to deliver the welcome address.
Everyone. Joy to experience and enlighten throughout generation. On English, literary environment. Also, I am proud to welcome our respected Bobby we probably a dean of the school. I will introduce place for the passion and love for literature. We learn from the department. Your participation is precious to us. It is both our privilege and responsibility to remember and reflect on the literary students literature, but also redefine the boundaries of global thought and equity. Today's celebration is not merely a remembrance, but a reaffirmation of the values Taylor stood for, values that lie at the core of literary study, empathy, critical thought, artistic expression, and a deep engagement with the world around us. Let this occasion be not only a tribute to Taylor's brilliance, but also an inspiration for us to carry forward his vision in our academic and creative pursuits. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to today's celebration with reciting a few lines from Taylor's poem পঁচিশে বৈশাখ। রাত্রি হলে ভোর আজীবন জড়িত স্মরণপূর্ণ গানে পদ্ধতির রৌদ্রে লেখা লিপিখানি হাতে করিয়া আনি গানে আসি দিল রাত পঁচিশে বৈশাখ। Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for greeting us all with your warmth. We remember his quote, the world is the family of the one who can embrace the whole world in his heart. In his universalism and boundless humanity, Tagore's work continues to inspire us to think beyond boundaries and connect with the world in profound ways. To set the tone for this tribute, I warmly invite Professor Archana Arul, our event coordinator, for the inaugural address. Thank you, Jennifer. Ladies and gentlemen, respected dignitaries, dear colleagues from various departments, and my dear students. A warm and wonderful afternoon to each of you gathered here. It gives me immense joy and pride to deliver the inaugural address of Rabindra Jayanti 2025. I still remember the moment vividly back in 2022 when Dr. Tanushree casually asked, don't we celebrate Rabindra Jayanti? I looked at her, rather baffled, because until then I had no idea and nor have I heard of this celebration in this institution. But once I learned of the cultural significance and historical depth, we took a proposal to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. With gracious approval, this celebration found its place in our institutional calendar. From that day onwards, Rabindra Jayanti has become a constant, a celebration of culture, creativity, and community. And what a beautiful journey it has been. Right from its first edition,
We have witnessed how organically this event brings together students and faculty members from various departments, all eager to participate through music, dance, reflections, and memorable speeches. And here we are already at the fourth edition. With renewed enthusiasm and deeper reverence, I assure you today's celebration will be no less enriching than the previous years, perhaps even more inspiring. As I contemplated what message I could leave you with today, I decided to speak on something close to my heart. Tagore's relevance and the influence on today's generation, our Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. We often think of Tagore in sepia tone, an old photograph, a Nobel Prize, a song sung at school assemblies. But today, I'd like to see him differently, not just as a towering literary figure of the past, but as a quiet companion walking beside us in our times, especially beside our younger generations, Gen Z and Alpha, who carry the weight of a rapidly changing, overwhelming world. Gen Z is born into uncertainty, into screens and scrolls, into the paradox of connection and loneliness, find in a voice that allows stillness. His poetry doesn't shout, it breathes. It urges us to listen, not just to others, but to ourselves. He speaks of freedom, not merely political freedom, but the freedom to feel, to imagine, to break away from the inherited structures and build anew. To Gen Alpha, just beginning to shape the language of the world, Tagore offers stories and songs that open doors. He nurtures a deep love of childhood, not as a preparation for adulthood, but as a complete world in itself. In an age where even toddlers navigate touchscreens, Tagore's belief in the power of curiosity, play, and nature feels revolutionary again. He reminds us that education is not about control, but awakening. That identity is not about boundaries, but belonging. And that poetry isn't an escape from reality, it's a deeper way of engaging with it. Tagore was a poet, yes, but also a painter, an educator, a composer, a philosopher, and above all, a seeker. He reminds our children and ourselves that we don't have to be just one thing, that being whole is more important than being perfect. As we celebrate him today, let us move beyond ritual. Let us carry forward the essence of what he stood for, a deep, fearless humanity. In every classroom, every melody, every question that a young mind asks, we hear echoes of him. Let this Rabindra Jayanti not just be a remembrance but a return to the possibilities of becoming fully human in a fragmented world. As H.W. Longfellow once wrote, lives of great men all remind us we can make our life sublime and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Rabindranath Tagore's life is one such luminous footprint, guiding us gently, reminding us to live with purpose, with poetry, and above all, with compassion. Let us honor him not just today, but through our performances, but through the values we carry forward of curiosity, of creativity, of courage, and care. Thank you. Let the celebrations begin.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for guiding us into the heart of today's review. Every celebration finds its soul in a voice that speaks from the heart. Putting us such a voice, rich of wisdom and warmth, we now welcome our Associate Dean, Ms. Manisha Thakuri, to deliver the special address.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. The one who's sleeping in the middle? Can you wake him and tell good afternoon? Wake him and say good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. I'm sure he's not sleeping, he's contemplating, right? So, it is an intense afternoon loaded with lots of thoughtful words. Also, the heat of the sun, the fan which is rotating but hardly giving air to people. Yet we are here to celebrate Rabindra Jayanti, and that is the spirit we are actually celebrating. That's special about today. I'm very excited that it's the fourth year, as Archana mentioned, that we are here coming together, not only as a department, but as a university to celebrate Rabindra Jayanti. It just looks like yesterday, an effort, a one-step effort that the department took, where few of us were there. Today, we are booking extra rooms to live telecast the event, and the celebration also has gone double fold, which you will be witnessing today. And I'm very happy the crowd does not include English students. Thankfully, very few, even if they are not here, they are working backstage or performing. We have audiences from other departments, and that's very beautiful about today. When we're talking about Rabindra Jayanti, we are not just honoring his birth as a poet, which has been already reiterated by my previous speakers. We are celebrating the spirit of visionary who believed in power of thought, freedom, and creativity. Rabindranath Tagore was not confined by borders. Please remember this. He was never confined by borders or definitions. He was a poet, philosopher, educator, and above all, a humanitarian who dared to dream beyond the conventional. That's why it is evident that we are celebrating his birthday. We do celebrate our birthdays every year. Can the nation remember us during our birthdays, except our friends and Facebook circle, social circle, network that we have? Why are we celebrating this great man? This great man has an achievement, and he has brought something to his name, alongside being very humble, being a human that the country or the world truly wanted. Tagore once said, the highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our lives in harmony with all existence. Let us take this as a call to learn, not just from the grades, but for the growth of ourselves. Not just to compete, but to create. Education is not only in books. It is in music, in nature, in kindness, and in questioning the world around you. And today's program stands the testimony for all of you, which conglomerates or which testifies this statement. Today, we are not only celebrating culture, life, literature, but we are also questioning today's scenario, today's situation that Generation Z, the millennials, and Alpha are going to face, right? So probably today's celebration will also pose questions in your mind, curiosity to find more about what life is all about and what is worth about this life that you're living. I don't have to say much because it's just a special address. The program awaits. Before I end, I would like to tell that may you all become lifelong learners like Tagore, whom as a child reshaped education through Shanti Niketan, if you know this institute. We do have alumnus here as well, and even I here as well as your teachers, and became the first Asian Nobel laureate by embracing the world with his words. That was him. Let his legacy inspire you to be original, fearless, and deeply human. Very important. Happy Rabindra Jayanti, and let your learning begin from here. Thank you so much for having me, and best wishes to the English department for conducting this program. Congratulations to you as well. This is the only platform, the in-house celebration of an event in the university where the learner and the learned comes together to give wisdom. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am, for weaving words with such grace. Paul didn't just write songs or choreograph ideas, he created experiences. In Sangeet, it's a whisper of the divine, and Nitya, a rhythm of the spirit. To add more color to this event, we now step into the heart of today's celebration, where youth meets tradition and its creativity honors a legend. Let the melodies wrap around you like poetry in motion. Some performers bring to life Tagore's timeless musical soul. Rabindra Sangeet, rendered by Miss Sampurna, first year BA English, will be accompanied by Mr. Jessic on the guitar. This song embodies the essence of human connection, love, and recognition. With soulful melody, Tagore takes us on a journey of deep emotion and introspection. Please welcome them with a warm applause.
To conclude today, we have been on other mic. There is the narrative. From mic.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar. আমি চিনি গো চিনি তোমারে ও গো বিদেশিনী তুমি থাকো সিন্ধু পারে ও গো চিনি প্রাতে তোমার দেখেছি মাধবী রাতে তোমায় দেখেছি মেঘি মাঝারে ও গো বিদেশিনী আমি আকাশে পাখি আঁকা শুনেছি শুনেছি তোমারই গান আমি তোমারে ছুপেছি প্রাণ গো বিদেশিনী ভুবন ভূমি আছে সে আমি এসেছি নূতন দেশে আমি অতিথি তোমার আমি চিনি গো চিনি তোমারে ও গো বিদেশিনী তুমি থাকো সিন্ধু পারে ও গো বিদেশিনী Tagore once said, words are a pretext. It is the inner bond that draws one person to another, not words. Yet how beautifully his words continue to bind us across generations. We now have Ms. Joyce Subba, first year BA Economics, who will deliver a speech.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries, teachers, all the students, and my friends. Today we are here not just a poet, not just a philosopher, not just a Nobel laureate, but a benevolent, rational voice who refused to be caged by nation, creed, or time. Rabindranath Tagore was not just the first non-European Nobel laureate. He was one of the rarest minds in history who saw humanity before nationality, beauty before borders, and he was born in 1861 and continues to be one of the most relevant thinkers in our fractured, burning world. Tagore spoke of our universal human values, of truth without flags, and freedom that goes beyond the mere idea of independence. He once wrote, I quote, patriotism cannot be our final spiritual shelter. My refuge is humanity. For this conviction, he was branded by many as anti-national, perhaps the most radical title one could bear in colonial India. But in his case, it was not the rejection of the nation. It was the refusal to worship it blindly. His philosophy was filtered through the lens of ethics, of empathy, of the soul sovereignty over slogans. Look around us today, where Gaza burns, mourns under the skies of ash, where Ukraine bleeds into its soil, where India and Pakistan remain tethered to the histories of pain. Tagore was not the voice of a rebel without cause, but the deep moral vision of someone who saw beyond artificial borders. His so-called anti-nationalism was in fact a radical humanism. Tagore feared nationalism because he saw what blind nationalism could become. A machine that crushes the individual soul and devours empathy in the name of pride. In his novel, Ghare Baire, in English, The Home and the World, he warned how nationalism could become a religion of ego. He saw the danger of turning flags into firebrands, identity into ideology. What he feared, we now live. Tagore's idea of global was not shallowed by Western mimicry. He drank deeply from the springs of ancient Indian philosophy, from the Upanishads, from the Gita, from the vision of a world where the self is not isolated but connected. His Shantiniketan was built not just with red earth, but with the dream of an education rooted in truth, beauty, harmony, and universal belonging. From the Gita, he drew his idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. Tagore believed that education must be global in spirit, but local in roots. He believed that peace cannot be taught without poetry, and that true identity is forged through understanding, not fear. As we live in an age where we are quick to label and slow to listen, when words are louder than dialogues, we must ask, what would Tagore say today? He would not chant slogans. He would not pick sides. He would ask us to sit beneath a tree, listen to the bird song, look our enemy in the eye, and begin a conversation. He would ask us to return to compassion, to shared sorrow, to moral courage. Let me end with his own words, which seem written for this exact moment. I quote, the nations who are now deluded with the idolatry of nation, who would even dare to offer their own lives for the symbol of the herd, will now soon come to realize the terrible absurdity of their delusion. Tagore is not history, he is our conscience, a chance to still choose poetry over propaganda, love over pride, and the human over the flag. Let us reread, rethink before it is too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Let's all sit back and watch the Rabindra rhythm, a graceful dance interpretation of the emotions that take off when with such finesse. We now invite Miss Nate, a first year BA English, to grace the dance with an elegant performance. But before we accept, understand us with the dance, let us take a moment to understand the spirit and bodies. It's a vibrant homage to Pagul, a joyful celebration of spring. It captures the soul of Vasanta Utsav, a season of renewal, colors, and festivity. Through graceful movements, it evokes the playful embrace of springtime, where nature bursts bloom and the air is rich with fragrance and joy.
चलिए थोड़ा सा और नहीं होगा लास्ट और नहीं है ठीक है ठीक है तुम्हारे हवाए जीवन हमारा उन्हारा हमारा मन मन चेरा तुम्हारे हवाए जीवन আগুন খাওয়াই খাওয়াই করেছি জীবন আমার আপন ধারা প্রাণ আমার মন চেনা প্রাণ তোমার খাওয়াই খাওয়াই করেছি জীবন আগুন খাওয়াই খাওয়াই করেছি জীবন সঙ্গে কি সঙ্গে সঙ্গে কি সঙ্গে 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 কি সঙ্গে আমার সঙ্গে তোমার ছাউয়ের জলে মরিয়া আমার গান আমার খাওয়ায় খাওয়ায় করেছি জীবন আগুন খাওয়ায় খাওয়ায় করেছি জীবন গন্ধায় রূপসাগরের পারের পানে উদাসী মন্ধায় তোমার রজনী গন্ধায় রূপসাগরের পারের পানে উদাসী মন্ধায় তোমার প্রজাপতির পাখায় প্রজাপতির পাখা আমার মুগ্ধ চোখের রঙিন শোভন মাথা তোমার প্রজাপতির পাখা আমার মুগ্ধ চোখের রঙিন শোভন মাথা তোমার কাঁধের আলোয় বিনায় আমার দুঃখের স্বপ্ন করেছি আগুন হাওয়ায় হাওয়ায় করেছি আমার উদ্ধার প্রাণ আমার বাঁধন তেরা প্রাণ তোমার হাওয়ায় হাওয়ায় করেছি আগুন হাওয়ায় হাওয়ায় করেছি
We now invite Ms. Lovely Verma to the stage as she lends her voice to the timeless verses of Rabindranath Tagore, bringing alive the poetic soul of a bard who spoke to the heart of humanity.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am from BA English Honors. Today I am going to recite a poem that is Rabindranath Tagore. Endless time is endless. uh, Time is endless in thy hands, my Lord. There is none to count thy minutes. Days and nights pass in ages, bloom and fade like flowers. Thou knowest how to wait. Thy centuries follow each other, perfecting a small bright flower. We have no time to lose, and having no time, we must scramble for a chance. We are too poor to be loose. And thus it is that some time goes by, while I have it to every curious man who claims it, and thine urging empty of all offerings to the Lord. At the end of the day, I hazard in fear lest thy gate but shut, but I find that yet there is time. On missing a dear one, let me go forget.
Lovely. Up next, we have Shivangi, whose performance invites us into a world of quiet introspection and beauty. This evocative piece reflects the poet's deep emotional bond with nature, especially in the drifting clouds. Where the line becomes a silent companion to the clouds, wandering freely across the sky, bearing a sense of longing and an endless quest for meaning. Let's welcome Shivangi.
Jayanti, for your graceful performance. Tagore believed that theatre was not merely performance. It was a mirror held up to the soul of society, a vessel for truth, emotion, and transformation. In his Rabindra his plays, we find layers of philosophy wrapped in simplicity, characters that breathe poetry, and stories that will whisper relevance across time. We present a satirical gem adapted for the stage, Invention of Shoes, based on Rabindranath Tagore's witty and incisive Juta Avishkar. In his playful yet poignant tale, a king, troubled by the dust on his royal feet, orders his ministers to cover the entire kingdom in leather. What unfolds is a comical journey to observe bureaucracy, inflated egos, and a brilliantly simple solution, the invention of shoes. With humor and insight, Tagore holds a mirror to power, reminding us how the simplest problems often suffer the most elaborate solutions. Sit back and enjoy this timeless satire. Let's welcome students of BA English and BSc Universal human values who will bring alive characters and take us to the kingdom of Holy Land. So we need 2 to 5 minutes for the setup, so please be patient. I'm sure our students will make up for the minute that you're waiting.
আকাশ নদী চলছে কেমন দেখতে পারবেন শুনেছি রাজা তারে চন্দ্রমন্ত্রী আকাশ নদী চলছে কেমন দেখতে পারবেন রাজেগা হবার হলো বলতি রাজেগারে
Once upon a time, my dear audience, in a wonderful land filled with cotton fabrics, we undertook logic. Just anything. Responsibility. This is considered a royal achievement if you got out of the bed before lunch. Now, the king is not wrong. He's not wise either. In fact, his idea of ruling the kingdom mostly involves sitting on his throne, eating laddus, and occasionally declaring things like, let there be a national holiday for my new haircut. He believes that the world revolves around his royal feet. But you'll see soon that was not entirely untrue. His ministers, oh, they vote, they noted, and scribbled nonsense in scrolls just to keep him happy. And the kingdom, it somehow functioned on luck, monsoon prayer, and the fact most people ignored the king completely. But my dear audience, something terrible happened. Something truly shocking. Something truly unacceptable in the eye of King Hobu. He stepped on a dust. Yes, dust. The most common earthly particle dared to touch His Highness' feet. From there, well, let's just say it's history, and possibly footwear would never be the same again. So come along as we delve into the whimsical world of Rabindranath Tagore's invention of shoes, where wisdom takes time. He will take center stage and the king takes everything personally.
শ্রী শ্রী প্রভুচন্দ্র রায় বাহাদুর সপারিষদ রাজসভায় প্রবেশ করছে।
Meanwhile, royal court of Babylon, morning, the dusty kingdom. Lavishly decorated hall, ministers and courtiers stand in rows. King Hobu reclines on an ornate throne, sipping from a clay cup. A Pankawala dance means pleasant. Our story begins in the kingdom of Babylon, ruled by Banabala, the slightly eccentric King Hobu.
What's the latest surprising I shall worship watching it? What's happening to my God is kingdom? For a Jake step for the rising price, vanishing nights, what matter of what are you buying the universe? Speaking your highness, are things ever to be fine? Oh, wow! On the planet fall, next they were put on clouds. Mara, people are also requesting clean water. Clean water? What next? Stop here? Silent in a fish market?
Suddenly, a swirl of dust blows into the court. The king begins talking dramatically.
What a trust again. I just do a kingdom in my city to my own legacy.
Scene of courtiers rush about in a wild confusion. The council's conundrum.
Find a solution. Find listed advices. After
We despise the politics of fancy blows to grow the dust and wind.
now you're but my more permanent solution.
Scene 3, the dust army. The dust, it seems, had a mind of its own. It swirls and bends, mocking the king's attempts to control it. Named Paul Chalmer observed the king's struggles with knowing eye. He noticed now how the ground itself contributed to the dust. Pablo Sharma has an idea. He begins sketching designs for wood coverings. Pablo Sharma approaches the hall. Scene 1, the first shoe. Shoes were invented, the dust was subdued, the kingdom rejoiced, and the cobbler charmer was hailed as a hero. Scene 6, the celebration.
What has, what more? I decree all the things the fool that shall stop wearing shoes. Who is doing this? No? We will apply a special plastic of dust healing. So you from others.
So, the invention of shoes reminds us that even the simplest solutions can have an unexpected consequences, and that human cleverness can triumph over even the toughest of problems. It's a story of adaptation, problem solving, and enduring power of good idea, all wrapped in Tagore's signature way. What will humans invent next? The possibilities are endless. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed our performance, and now I would like to introduce our actors who brought the characters to life. Firstly, myself, Casimir, as a narrator, King Robo, played by Chenzo, Cover Charmer, played by Rachel, Robo by Adashika, Sobu by Eden, Dancer Shreya, Advisor 1, Suraj, Advisor 2, Reward, Advisor 3, Ashwin, and the last, Pakawala Tanjori. Thank you to our talented performers for bringing life into Tagore's timeless drama.
The stage now becomes a canvas for wisdom and grace, as our station faculty members step forward to offer the heartfelt tribute to Gurudev. Begins with the honor to present a mesmerizing dance drama brought to life by the talented Dr. Sudarshana Nandi. Her performance is a captivating interpretation of Rabindra Tagore's iconic dance drama, Pitangara, a timeless tale drawn from Mahabharata. Reimagined through the profound lens of gender identity and the quest for selfhood. Dr. Tanushree will narrate the lyrics. Let's welcome them with a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. We are honored to present Chitrangada, Nritya, one of Tagore's most evocative dance forms. Inspired by the Mahabharata, Tagore reimagines the story of Princess Chitrangada of Manipur, a warrior by spirit and birth. He challenged conventional notions of femininity, identity, and love.
So money that the film is about into the tree. A fear rose into the wind. In Chitrabhana, without an hair, nailed beneath the sacred vanium. His heart, heavy with eyes, turned to the heaven. He pleaded with Lord Shiva, grant me a son, one who will guard my people, and without fear. And the Lord, in his silence and wisdom, replied, you shall have a child who will be as a son to you. A daughter was born, Chitrangada. But not a ordinary flame. The child was forged in fire, blazed by divinity, destined for more. Once upon a time, in the shadowed depths of a dark forest, the brave warrior sister, Chitrangada, ventured forth with her companions on a hunting expedition. She moved through the wilderness, but amidst the rustling leaves and whispering reeds, her presence disturbed the hermit brahmachari deep in meditation, none other than Arjuna, a mighty warrior of the Pandavas. After from his spiritual son, Arjuna's anger flared. His words struck her not just as insult, but as a denial of her identity. With calm dignity, Chitrangada declared, see me not as a woman or man, but as a soldier. Time moved on. A quiet change bloomed within her heart. Chitrangada found herself falling in love with a man who had once scorned her. Yet with that love came doubt, for she didn't see herself as beautiful. In her own eyes, she was Kurupa, unworthy of admiration. And her heart whispered a question. What if I was beautiful in the way he desires? What if I was not Surupa, but Shurupa, torn between pride and desire? Chitrangada lifted her gaze to the heavens, calling upon Madana, god of love, in grace. He raised her, Shurupa, the beautiful. Time like a river flowed unseen.
And Chitrangada, warrior queen by Madana's blessing, became Shurupa, the beautiful one. Arjuna and Shurupa met with each other again. But this time, Arjuna was captivated by her beauty. Arjuna didn't ask where she came from. He didn't ask who she was. Because what mattered was what he saw. A woman who lived like rain and loved like king. Arjuna and Shurupa sat beneath the shade of ancient trees, wrapped in white company. The river sang softly nearby, mirroring their calm in each other's presence. Their love was a still flame, gentle, steady, and deep. Days passed, and at last Shurupa heard the name Kurupa spoken by Arjuna. The truth struck quietly, yet deep, and suddenly everything felt like a life she had unknowingly embraced. She made a choice to reveal herself, to let love rise or fall. With sorrow in her heart, Shurava knelt before Madana. Her voice a quiet plea. Take back this boy's beauty. Let me return to my true self. Shurava shed her illusion and became Rupa again, whole and true. Scene 3. And so Chitrangada stood before Arjuna once more. Not as enchantress, but as herself, the sword bearer, the land's protector, the mother to me. No vein, no illusion, not borrowed grace of birth or magic. Only the fire she had fought within her bones, and the strength that had never asked for permission. Arjuna looked not with desire, but with understanding, not at a woman remade, but at a soul revealed. He saw her, not the goddess cloaked in beauty, but the warrior cloaked in fame and purpose. And he moved not in shame, but in reverence. They came together again, this time as equals, not lovers and beloved, but soul and soul. not conqueror and conquered. And the world for a moment remembered what it meant to witness a woman rise, not as me, but as truth. চিত্রাঙ্গনা রাজেন্দ্র নন্দিনী হয়তো হরিমিলনে সেই একই দিন সেই সর্বতীরে শিবালয় দেখা দিয়েছিল এক নারী মনকে ভাঙিয়ে খারাপ ছিলে তারই ভালোই করেছো সামান্য সে নারী তারপরে কে ছিল দর্শনীতে আমি কি চাই করি মাথা কেউ আমি রাখি আর সেরা কোমরে সম্রাটের পথে চিন্তার দাও নদী আমার স্বামী এই সবই দিয়েছিল গর্ভে আমি ছেলে সন্তান তোমার যদি পুত্র হয় তার শৈশব বীর শিক্ষা দিয়ে কবিরারে একদিন পাঠাইয়া দিব যাবে পিতার চরণে তখন জানিবে মনে প্রিয়তম আজ শুধু নীলের চরণে আমি চিত্রাঙ্গনা রাজেন্দ্র নন্দিনী
Thank you, teachers, for such an amazing performance. And to conclude the soulful segment, we present a melodious group song by our dear faculty members, accompanied by Rigden from Zoology, a heartfelt tribute to the timeless musical legacy of Rabindranath Tagore. This evocative devotional piece beautifully captures this deep spiritual yearning of the human soul. Let us immerse ourselves in this moving performance. Good afternoon, everyone. As part of the Rabindra Jayanti celebration in Department of English and on behalf of faculty members of SRM University Sikkim, we are going to present the song Shokatore Oi Kandije Shongole, taken from the Pujo O Prarthana section of Rabindra Songit. These songs offer existential and metaphysical themes. This song is a profound devotional song that expresses the deep anguish, yearning, and spiritual thirst of human souls in its search for divine solace. The song begins with a vivid image of universal sorrow, where all beings are crying out in pain, and the speaker, he to God, address him as Pita or Father to listen to them. There is a desperate appeal to the Father to speak gently in the ears and hearts of the grieving, instilling peace, harmony, and reassurance. Thus, the performance of the song is not merely a musical homage, but an invocation of literatures to express the power, literature's power to express the inexpressible. Take a moment to thank our incredible faculty for sharing not just their voices, but their hearts. Your performances remind us that teaching is indeed an art, and today you've all been artists in the truest sense. Now, I would like to call on our respected Registrar Sir to kindly share a few thoughts and reflections on the legacy and contributions of Rabindranath Tagore as we celebrate his enduring influence on literature, education, and human values.
It's a faculty members, my colleague, and dear students. I was thinking Tagore would have been here today to see all this performance. It was a wonderful performance. I really liked the drama, how the chapel was in. So that was a real innovation. And when I was watching that drama, I was thinking in my college, there was a drama performed about Mahabharata. And in that one, there was a character Shabindala. So Shabindala's character, somebody was performing, but accidentally Shabindala was hearing a Paragon chapel. So people were asking, Paragon was there at that time, Mahabharata. So, so it was, I think all the performance was excellent. I just wanted to say a few things. One is, Rabindranath Tagore is one of the very important reformers. Actually, 90 is not the original 90 is the Bengali calendar. That is why April. One of the unique features of Rabindranath Tagore's birth and death, his birth both happened on the same dates. 70 is the 70 is the death. And if you look at the history of Rabindranath Tagore, the amount of work he has done, he is not even a Catholic. He was sent by his parents to return to study law, to become barrister. But he came back after a few years without finishing the degree. But his interest was to read the whole story. He was just reading some of the stories about him. He was not interested in studying. And he did not like schooling. His schooling was mostly done at home. So you could imagine such a person to become an orator 2 years of time and to become the author of one of the songs we sing most of the day in our country. And that is really amazing. And I think it is a great tradition of Christian voice. Secondly, you don't actually Rabindranath Tagore name is not Rabindranath Tagore. His name is Rabindranath Tagore. Tagore is those who are from UP, Madhya Pradesh, they know what is Tagore. Tagore means the number. The huge annotation here, Tagore. So Tagore becomes Tagore. Tagore is actually the English of the that is how so that also is a very important transformation in his life. Well, he dedicated, he comes from a very big family at that time. We are talking about the 1861, that 18th century, 19th century. That time, his family was one of the richest, and he is talking about him, which is very independent today. And he could have choose the profession of probably becoming somebody in the British that time or somebody, but he chose to become to fight for the right of the people, right of women, freedom, all these things were some of the contributions of Tagore. And I would like to challenge the student for the graduates. These are some of the start of life, lot of things and lot of things is learned on it, right? You don't need to be a doctorate or you don't need to be even a graduate to do change. And to become a Nobel laureate, one of the most prestigious prize the world, anybody can have in the world. And he is the first person who got Nobel laureate non-European. And the piece of work he has done for Nobel laureate, it was not an English work. It was not written in English. If you look at the story of this work, that he has written in his own language in English, his own language. The language of English, because he's not even a graduate, so how can he? So he has formulated, articulated such a very wonderful piece where he was awarded a Nobel Prize. Those days, where Nobel Prize was, now Nobel Prize is exclusively for people with white. The black or the brown people getting Nobel Prize is very limited. Most of the Nobel goes like that. The politics involved in Nobel Prize. So at that time, he was awarded a Nobel Prize. So that means something very great. The last thing I would like to say is this piece of work, the song, the poem he wrote, the General Mana that we are taking most of the day. I only ask when my readers, they sing most of the day. So that also he didn't know, he didn't hear it as a national anthem because he died before it was being recognized in 1950. The national anthem was adopted by the Indian government during after post independence in 1950. It was adopted, but at that time, Tagore was not there. So it took almost around 39 to 40 years after writing something to become something world famous and something nationally very important. Probably, you look at the picture of Tagore, you see somebody like this today in a railway station. What will be your response? Probably people will think that, ये क्या पागल आदमी है क्या? ठीक है, so the picture that, yeah. We have, there is one very important social reform. I don't remember, her name is Dayabai. I don't know how many of you know about Dayabai. Dayabai worked among tribal population in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and all. He is very popular in that kind of circle. He goes to abroad for giving seminars and lot of teachers. She speaks quite a lot. And she roam around like with a small bag. If you look at her, she don't look like Arundhati Roy or maybe all these icons that five-star icons. No, so she don't look like that kind of. So she's from Kerala. She was once traveling in a KSRTC bus, state bus. She had some fight with the conductors. In the midnight, the conductor asked her to get down, get out of the bus in the night. It became a big news. So the life, the inspiration doesn't come from your color or your look or your degree or something, what you do in your very short span of life. And everybody can take the challenge that Tagore has mentioned. Today morning, I was speaking to one of my friends, and she was telling in South Korea, a lot of young celebrities are committing suicide. Lot of young celebrities. And if you want to survive, particularly females, if they want to survive in South Korea, they have to be fair. Number one. They have to be very difficult. So these are the only two things that even I was really surprised when she told me, even government, to get a government job, it's a law there that one of the criteria for getting job in South Korea in government is to be fair and beautiful. Otherwise, you cannot even apply. So let's take this as a, not just as a kind of, we got a lot of entertainment, but let's take the life of Tagore as one of the challenge and be the social reformer, because a lot of language, people in the language have done a lot of reforms in India. Most of which, if you look at popular culture stories, also many of the popular reformers, they are also in the literature. So there is a opportunity to challenge with pen, challenge with your life, and challenge with what we do. I would like to congratulate all of you for organizing this. So I thank for inviting me for this function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words. As we near the conclusion of this soulful journey to music, dance, and reflection, it's time to acknowledge the hands and hearts behind today's event. To formally convey our gratitude, I now invite on stage Ms. Smita Sarkar, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Gratitude, when true, is not just spoken, it is felt like an unuttered prayer. It resonates quietly in the heart before it ever finds its way to words. I stand here with that same quiet resonance today, honored and privileged to deliver this vote of thanks on this deeply meaningful occasion, Rabindra Jayanti, and also the closing ceremony of the value-added course on universal human values. Today, we gather not only to celebrate art, literature, and learning, but also to pause, reflect, and gather walk in a world that feels increasingly cold. Outside these walls, war rages, borders tighten. Even though we are distanced from the battlefield, we are not untouched. We remain emotionally accountable. Rabindranath Tagore, always eerily poetic, prophetic, once wrote, "Is it the historical heroes that the boisterous sea of tears moves in the flood tides of pain? The crimson clouds run wild in the wind, lashed by lightning, and the thundering rupture of the mad is ever in time. Life sits in the chariot crowned by gold." We today offer a tribute not of despair, but of defiance, a chorus of hope. On behalf of the Department of English, SRM University, Sydney, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor C.H. Satish Kumar, Sir. His support, his passion for a culturally enriched academic environment in life into events like this. Our warm thanks also to our respected Registrar Sir for standing by all our efforts with such generous encouragement. We are immensely grateful to the associate deans, HODs, and faculty members across different departments who not only lent us their time but their trust. To all dear students from English, from universal human values, from across disciplines, you are not just participants, you are the pleasant beings among beneath all our wings. This is true, I mean it. Without you, we have no significance. You remind us that education is not just a syllabus. It is an unfolding of empathy, curiosity, and melodies. Our special thanks to the communication team and ITKM. Your silent efficiency is the foundation beneath our every visible voice and success. To the maintenance team, we owe you for them words. Now, finally, in this same note of song and spirit, we now rise to sing our national anthem, written and composed by the very soul we celebrated today, Rabindranath Tagore. Let it not just be a ritual, let it be a reminder But even though the young is country, we have seen has been thriving. Thank you.
Faith, let us leave with the timeless words of Tagore. Faith is the bird that feels the light and sings the dawn is still dark. May this light of faith, of art, of unity to guide us all. Thank you all for the day. Refreshments are being served in room 0503 for students and room number 504 for the teachers.
Teachers, let's take one. Teachers,